The whole idea of this exhibit was to concentrate on just the local fauna up on the coast here. Most of the time I travel out of the area and I shoot larger game, but that's in places like Yellowstone and in Arizona and what have you. But the thing about the past couple of years, COVID kept me closer to home. So this exhibit is based on my being at home and concentrating on the animals and the insects, the birds, and what have you in this area. An example is the river otters here. These are photographed down on the Bolander River. I just happened to be in a good place where I saw the otters on a previous day, and I went to the location that they ended up at, and I stayed there, and sure enough, they showed up, and I photographed them there. Of course, I was very, very still, but they were still curious with me, and that's why they're looking at me. Reminds me of two old men for some reason. And this photograph, of course, I was able to get close enough, even with the telephoto lens, to get this hawk up on Lighthouse Road in Point Arena. And these red-tailed hawks can be a magnificent bird. I really love them. If you step over this way, we have these are two egrets. Now they're different species. If you notice, this one has green talons, this one has orange ones. That indicates one of them is a snowy egret, and that's the one with the green talons. The one with the gold is a great egret. And they apparently didn't like each other. So now this over here is something we don't see too often. As a matter of fact, this is the first year that I've ever seen these. These are called white-lined sphinx moths. However, they're really big and they flutter like very, very fast. And they have the name hummingbird moth, I think, because of that. And they are about the size of a hummingbird. When I used to live in Anchor Bay, now I live down in the Sea Ridge, but in Anchor Bay I used to photograph hummingbirds at my house. And this is an Allen's hummingbird that happened to be flying right towards the camera. Something that I have never seen. I was over at Bolander Point Park when I heard a rustling in the brush, and running out onto the parking area was this blue jay chasing this California vole.
Wow.
And he attacked the vole and eventually flew off of it. And I never knew that blue jays ever ate rodents. I thought they were just insects and seeds and things of that nature. Yeah. A bird that we don't see too often up here, as a matter of fact, very rarely, it's usually once or twice a year, is a bird called a sora, S-O-R-A. A friend of mine pointed him out to me, and he and I would go down there and photograph it, and then we involved some other people in this, and that worked out very nicely. Anyway, I love this bird.
I remember that when he was sighted in this area, yeah.
Yeah, and then this here is something I took years back, and this was down at the beach at Bolander Point Park. This was a swallow feeding its juvenile that had just fledged. Anyway, I was watching this bird fly out to the beach and pick up fleas and come back and feed its young that way. Now, one of the more interesting ones is this one right here. I happen to be out not too far from where you live, and this is a bobcat. Where I drove by, I saw this on a person's meadow, and from the road I photographed this. And this is a series. I actually did hundreds of pictures, but these, I narrowed it down to the most essential. And this is when I first saw him, to the point where he decided he was going to go after something he was listening to in the ground, and he had a successful hunt and went off with it.
That's great.
Yeah. And of course, even the smaller stuff. Among all animals, generally, predators have about a 30% chance at the most of catching their prey, whereas dragonflies are nearly 100%.
Wow. Yeah.
And they're just a very efficient predator, and they haven't changed except in size since prior to the dinosaurs, apparently.